Okay, my love, I am seriously fangirling today because I have someone on the podcast who I personally have been learning from for years. I'm talking a very, very long time. And this episode is for you if you have ever thought about starting a membership or you're in business and you would love to have predictable recurring revenue every single month. You might already know who this man is. The incredible Stu McLaren is on the podcast today. Stu is the OG. He is the go-to godfather of memberships. He's helped over 19,000 people build thriving memberships. And he's about to tell you in all different industries. So if you're like, there's no way I could do it, there is a way. He's the co-founder of Membership IO. He's the creator of the membership experience. And now he's just dropped his new book called Predictable Profits. And I'm here for it. I've already ordered the book. I have linked everything in the show notes. You can get a free copy of the book. All you got to do is pay for shipping. It's amazing. He is just a beautiful soul. Not only does he talk about the importance of predictable income and making profits and money with memberships, but he also goes deep into why you have to serve your clients in this way right now. Why in our uncertain economy, in the era of AI and social media, why it's the perfect time for you to have a membership and what a membership actually is and how it works. We also talk about building real community, sustainable income, and why creating transformation is much more powerful than pumping out heaps of content, okay? And lastly, I did get a little bit greedy and keep him a little bit longer because I wanted to ask him about his foundation that he's created with his wife. And he is a beautiful man who gives back so much and has built an incredible foundation where they donate, build schools, help kids move through school in Africa. He's incredible. And we talk about the importance of when you are able to make money, what that money can do, how money allows you to have more impact, and why you need to be able to make a lot of money and bring lots of money in. Because if you're here to do some good in the world, you need the money to do it. So if you've ever said that you want to help more people and create consistent, amazing income, this is your episode. I cannot wait for you to listen. Hello, Stu McLaren is on the Confidence Chronicles podcast. My friend, welcome.
I'm pumped to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
So I have to tell you, fangirling over here because you are like the OG of memberships. And I learned about you from our girl, Amy Porterfield, way back in the day. And you always blew my mind. And I'd be like, this guy, and you had such great energy, which you still have, and your dad jokes, which are the best.
I did bring the dad jokes for sure. Yeah.
Bring the dad jokes, please. But you've always been in this space and you're the go-to. And in my world, we would call you the queen bee of your industry, but you are the king S of your industry. How does it feel to still be the go-to in memberships and now have this amazing book, Predictable Profits?
It's, I've been doing this for a long time. And I think one of the opportunities that I often underestimate is that there's so many amazing people in this world that could continue to benefit from, what I share in this book. And that never, I don't know, I'm kind of humbled by it and so grateful for it. I had one of these moments this morning. My wife and I were walking back from dropping the kids off at school. And, we were just talking about what we were grateful for. And I just said, you know what, like, I'm just really, really grateful. Even though the world can seem crazy and chaotic right now, I just don't take for granted that with a single internet connection, we can reach hundreds, thousands, like even millions of people. And if you just rewind like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, like an entrepreneur meant you had to have like a storefront on a street, on the right street. And today it's never been easier. Like that is a blessing. And so I'm just so grateful to be able to share the good work of memberships and just help people be able to bring that stability and predictability in their business and in their life.
Oh, that's so good. And by the way, shout out to walking your kids to school. We just moved schools and that is the best. It just slows you right down and it's a beautiful thing. So congrats to you guys for that.
I would love to say that the kids love it every morning,
Yeah,
but
my
that
kids hate
just would
it.
not be true. You know, like
Why do we
I
have to
I
walk?
have yes, I've seen the creativity of our kids when it comes to excuses go to a whole nother level, you know,
Yeah,
ever since we
yeah.
started walking. But it's nonetheless, it's still fun.
We enjoy it. Okay, so as you said, we live in a world with so much uncertainty, especially at the time of recording this right now. I live in
Yeah.
Australia, but originally from America. I know you're in Canada, and it's a little bit hectic right now. So, why do you think that memberships are the way to future proof your business model and help women build more freedom, more flexibility, and income? Because you talk a lot about like income that actually lasts.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's just look at the last little bit. So 2020, COVID hits, world shuts down. It's like overnight, you had business owners who were being told like, no, you can't do business with people now. Like you can't do face to face. And like I had a buddy who owns a restaurant, and
Oh,
and he was like
jeez.
barely surviving, like
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to deliver food. Like he's not a delivery company. Like it just overnight, all these businesses were just like thrown upside down. Then even recently, and it's on again, off again, you know, in the US, but like the TikTok ban. So all of a sudden you got millions of creators who depend on the TikTok platform for their
Mhm.
business immediately being told, oh, it's being shut off. Like panic, you know, just
Yeah.
pure panic. And then now, like, you got the tariffs, and businesses are like, what the heck is going on? Like, what do you mean? Like, my costs are going double and triple,
Yeah.
and like it's just pure chaos. And all of those things, the regular business owner has zero control over.
Mm.
So what do you do in a world of so much uncertainty? Like, and it's no wonder that the number one stress across the board, survey after survey, the number one stress of business owners is financial stress. Like,
Mm.
where is the next sale going to come from? And most often, it's dependent on us doing another promotion or another launch or finding another client or doing a completely new project. It's always having to do new, hustle, 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 hustle.
Mm.
And at some point, you just be like, I just want to chill out. Like this is this is this is
Just want to
not
walk
this is
my
not
kids
fun
to
anymore.
school, Stu. I just want to walk and listen to them
Ex-
complain.
right? So that's why I'm a huge fan of memberships.
Yeah.
Because with subscription revenue, with recurring revenue, you don't have that same kind of stress because you start the month with the momentum that you gained from the previous month. Because you start, all the customers that you had last month are back and they're ready to pay you again. And you don't have to do a single new promotion, a new campaign, or a new launch or anything. They're just automatically going to pay you next month. It is the greatest blessing on earth. I don't even know if I can communicate how incredible it is at the beginning of the month to just see all of those
Yeah.
sales come in without a promotion. It is life changing. And what it does is it creates confidence in the business owner that you know the money's going to be there, that you can invest in your marketing, that you can invest to hire a team. You're not second guessing yourself and making decisions from a place of fear. You're making decisions from a place of confidence. And that's why I wrote this book. And that's why I want every business owner worldwide to have recurring revenue in their business so they can operate from a place of confidence and momentum.
Oh, it just like calms my nervous system, even just hearing you talk about that, because it is super stressful, especially when things around you are shifting and changing. And you spotlighted so many things that are out of our control. And what we can
Yeah.
control is the way we show up and what we create. So I love this because predictable profits is a very nice promise. It's a beautiful sentence. I'm like, I love it. Sign us up. I think I told you before recording, guys, I already ordered the book, so it's on its way. I love this man. I think you're brilliant and you share things in such a simple way. You're very masterful at teaching. I don't know if maybe your wife's teaching experience has come into you somehow, but you're really good at that. And so I think you break it down so nicely. But what inspired you to write this book after all these years and almost 20 years? Still, you've been doing this? You look like
Yeah.
you're 20, but you've been doing this for quite some time. So what inspired you to write this book and Why now? Why is it the most important time right now in our era of AI and information and content and all the things?
Well, okay, memberships right now are important because of all the reasons that we just talked about. There's so much uncertainty. Memberships create certainty. And there's, without that kind of certainty, you operate from a place of fear, and you make decisions. You take on a client that you normally wouldn't take, but you're not sure if the money's going to be there. So you're like, well, I don't really want to work with this person, but I'll take it on anyway. Or you run a new campaign, or you come up with a new project, and it just feels like it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And so that's why now, like, enough is enough. Now is the time for all of us to transform our business. And you're seeing big businesses have all started to shift and move to this. Like, you just think about the memberships that we have in our everyday life. Like, let's just do a little quick brainstorm, Erica. Like what kinds of memberships do you belong to, or do you pay for on a regular basis?
So of course I have all the shows, all the Disney, all the Netflix, all the Hulus, I don't know if I can have any more, but the kids, so I've got all that. Entertainment is sorted. I have a yoga because we got to stretch, and that's my meditation because I'm a little bit hyper. I have a gym membership. I feel like I have a nails membership because I do order nails, and she should do it. I feel like I'm going to buy that book for her as well, my nail girl. I recently had a client who has a photos membership, and she does a membership for photos. And I'm like, that's a great idea. There's so many. All the AI tools, Riverside that we're on. Oh gosh, so many. I am a membership junkie, actually.
And see, when you stop and think about it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like interwoven into every part of my daily life. Like, and that's the reality that today, the world that we live in today, is that it's a commonplace thing. And so if businesses don't have recurring revenue, they're falling behind. So that's why now. Now you ask, like, why did I write this book? I mean, I've been doing this and teaching this for nearly 20 years. Like, why all of a sudden am I coming up with a book? So I would love to tell you that there's like this beautiful moment of inspiration, and all of a sudden it hit me. But no, here's the reality of why I wrote this book. I have a mentor who happens to be the CEO of Hay House, which is a big publishing company over in the US. And he's been encouraging me to write this book for years.
Great.
And he said, Stu, like, write the book. People need this. Write the book. And I was like, yes, I want to write the book. But life gets busy. Business gets busy. I wasn't writing the book. Finally, he said to me, Stu, you ought to write this book. And I said to him, I'm like, I want to write this book. I genuinely do want to write this book. I'm finding it hard to find the time. He said, okay. He said, I've got a deal for you. I said, what's that? He said, I will donate $300,000 to your charity. My wife and I have our own nonprofit charity. He said, I will donate $300,000 to your charity if you write the book. I'm like, okay, I'm writing the book. It's on.
It's already happening, sir.
So what do you know? The book gets written. And so, I'm super grateful for the kick in the butt to make it happen.
What a great incentive, and bless that man. That is incredible. I do want to ask you about that later, because I think that we talk a lot about making money, and a lot of people are, trying to survive, and others are like, let's buy jets. And I'm like, I love what you and your wife do with your money. And I think as a person who cares so much about impact, and all of my listeners, I know you care about impact. I want to jam about that with you really quickly before we finish. Okay, so you talk about recurring transformation in the book. And I love that, because I'll be honest, when I heard membership, my heart rate started like,
okay, why did it start beating faster? Let's talk about it.
Okay, because it was like, oh God, I have to make all the things, and I have to bundles and every month. And, I think we believe, and let me know, listeners, if you're hearing me, is like, oh gosh, what if they leave, and what if they cancel, and what if I got to make it cool and better and all the content and all the 7,000 pages of things. So please tell us that that's not the case, Stu.
Okay, so I got good news and bad news. What do you want first?
I love the bad news first.
Bad news is some members are going to leave.
Oh,
that's a reality.
Dang. Okay, that's true.
I would love to wave a magic wand and every single member that joins your membership is going to continue paying you for life.
Yeah.
Like, I would love for that to happen, but it doesn't. Every month there will be a percentage of members that will leave.
Yeah.
Now, the good news is, in this book, I tell you exactly what to do to prevent, members from leaving en masse.
Nice.
But here's what I want to do, though, is I want to address your concern of, oh my gosh, I am going to be on this content hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And I've got to provide nonstop content. Well, the truth is, the number one reason that people leave a membership is not because they don't like you. It's not because your content isn't good. It's not because they're not even getting, it's not because they aren't getting any value. More often than not, the number one reason that people leave is because they're overwhelmed by the volume of content.
Ooh.
So we think as creators, naturally, like, the more I give, the more value I create.
Yeah.
Whereas the members are like, the more you give, oh my gosh, like, the more I got to do. Like, it's overwhelming.
Yes.
And so they're like, the moment they get overwhelmed, they're out and they cancel. So this is great news for us, because it means we don't have to produce anywhere near as much as we think we do. So I'll give you an example. So there's a woman in our community, her name's Jamie, and she had a membership site for photographers. And she was teaching them all the things about how to grow their photography business. And she was teaching them about launches. She's teaching about SEO. She's teaching about blogging. She's teaching about ads, social media, all the things. Now, between us girls, it was a little too much. And so her members were getting overwhelmed. They weren't implementing and they weren't getting results. And so what ended up happening was her membership plateaued. And so as many members as she was adding, she was losing. And so she wasn't seeing any significant growth. So she realized, like, I've got to change something here. Like, something's got to change. So what she ended up doing was reimagining what that membership could look like. So instead of teaching all the things about how to grow a photography business, she decided that she was going to teach one new strategy per month to help those photographers welcome one new recurring client per month. One strategy to find one new client. Like, even just saying that's just like, just immediately feels lighter. And so it felt lighter for her members, and they ended up like consuming more, taking more action, and getting better results. And here's the blessing. It meant that Jamie had to create a fraction of the content that she was doing before. So she was doing less, making more, and her members were getting better results. And so the whole concept that we have to just create is a lie. It's a falsehood. You do not. In a membership, it's not about the volume of content. It's about the speed we can get a transformation for people. It's about the speed of result. So the faster we can help people make progress, the happier they are. And so it's not about volume of content. It's about speed of implementation.
I love that so much. So if you are listening, just take a deep breath and put a smile on your face, because this is exciting. And this is why I love you, because you really do bite size it and make it easy. And it's like, this is not something that's easy for Stu or Amy or people like that. It's like, you've got amazing case studies in your community of like 19,000 students now that, I mean, everywhere from, I think you said somebody who does, what's something crazy that I heard about, and I was like, what, that's a business that someone does? Give me like a few that are maybe really weird that you're like, this cannot be a membership and someone has done it with you guys. We have so many amazing stories. Like, okay, here's a recent one. So there's a woman over in the UK. Her name's Bonnie Snowden. Now, she came into our world in 2021. Wow. Launched her membership in 2021. And in 2 years, she had taken that membership and it became $1 million plus membership. Wow. Now, fast forward to today, it's a $2.5
million a year membership.
Huge.
But when I tell you the market, you're going to be like, what? A $2.5 million membership in that? Okay. So listen to how specific this is. She teaches people how to draw realistic animals with colored pencils.
Wow, Bunny.
She teaches people how to draw realistic animals with colored pencils, and it's a $2.5 million a year membership.
Whoa,
Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing. Go Bunny. That's incredible.
Yeah. So that's Bonnie. Another good example. There's a woman in the States. She's married to somebody who's in the military. So her husband is away quite a lot. And she wanted to earn some extra income. But it's hard because she's got 2 young kids at home. So she can't go get like a regular job because she's at home with the kids.
Yeah.
But so she's like, okay, what could I do? So she ends up launching a membership around a passion of hers. And it's a multi-6-figure a year membership. She has thousands of members. And she's teaching them how to make balloon animals.
What?
The membership site is called the Twister Hood.
Oh my God, I love that. The Twister Hood.
So it just
That
shows and demonstrates you can create a profitable membership and business in all kinds of different markets. And it's super fun to kind of see what's happening.
Wow. Okay. And I've heard you talk about this, and I think you break this down in the book as well. There are different memberships, like 4 different memberships. So the people listening to this podcast usually have a coaching business or a service-based business, but there are some who are working a 9-to-5 and who have a little leg out and they want to build their little side hustle, especially after COVID, right? We're like, we want to work for ourselves. So these amazing, confident, independent ladies listening to the podcast, what are the different kind of memberships, just a little bird's eye view that someone listening could get into if they wanted to, once they read your book, of course.
Okay. So so let me give you insight in terms of like, when I work with clients one-on-one, somebody comes to me and they say, hey, can you help us, number 1, validate our idea. And number 2, like begin to, think about what type of membership we want to create. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for 3 key indicators. So first indicator that you're in a market that would be perfect for a membership is if you're in a market where there's an ongoing problem. So let me explain. Okay, let's say that somebody is overweight. Yeah. And they're not going to go from being overweight to their ideal weight like that. Yeah. It takes time for them to solve that problem. Yeah. Or another good example is like, let's say that somebody's in a terrible relationship with their spouse and they want to repair that relationship. Well, that's not going to happen overnight. Mm-hmm. Like you're not going to go from bad relationship to amazing relationship overnight. That takes time to solve that problem. Yeah. Perfect for a membership. Or dog training. Not going to go from crazy puppy to perfect puppy like that. It's going to take time. Perfect for a membership. So if you're in a market where you're helping people solve an ongoing problem, that is a green light, thumbs up, move forward. Amazing. Okay, second indicator I look for is, can you teach people a skill? Because skills take time to learn. That's number 1. And number 2, even when you acquire the skill, you never stop learning or practicing, right? Like it is something that you are continuously doing, and that's perfect for a membership. And so whether it's learning how to paint, whether it's learning how to play a musical instrument, whether it's learning how to grow a business, whether it's learning how to become a better Instagrammer, whatever it is, right? Like those are all skills, and skills take time to learn. Perfect for memberships. Amazing. Okay, the third indicator is, can you make someone's life better or easier? And this one, it's simple once I give you some examples. So we have a lot of teachers in our community. So if anybody watching and listening has ever been a teacher, you mentioned my wife was a teacher for 10 years. Wow. And the one thing that used to drive me bananas as a husband was that all her lesson planning would happen in the evenings and on the weekends. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, babes, this is our time. Like, what? She's like, but I gotta prepare the lessons for tomorrow or next week. And it was just like this source of friction in our household. Now that's why so many memberships in our community that have launched in the teacher space are thriving because what they have now come along, like Patty Palmer's come along, and she's created a membership for art teachers. And basically the pitch is, hey, you don't even need to worry about lesson planning. Just join my membership and I will give you the lesson plans every single day. Like, that is a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Making their life convenient and easy. And we see this in like lesson plans or templates. Like, I think of Nicole Melton. She has a membership site providing social media templates for businesses in the beauty profession. And so they don't have to worry about what they're going to post on social. She gives it to them every single month. Or there's Andrew Krause over in Australia. He provides Facebook ad templates for real estate agents. Wow. So they don't have to worry about how to be a Facebook ad pro. They just take his templates, plug in the details for the homes that they're selling, and bada bing, bada boom, they've got a proven Facebook ad that's going to get the results. So if you can save people time, energy, and effort, that is a great indicator too. So solve an ongoing problem, teach a skill, or create convenience for people. Those are all green light, thumbs up, move forward for a membership.
I love how easy you break it down with as well, because it's solving a problem, and everything that you talk about is really about selling the transformation, not the content. And I think that's such a game changer, because even when we talk about you get 17 modules and 7,000 worksheets and you get to be a part of a Facebook group, and people are just like, oh, that sounds terrible. But I love how you mentioned this, and I hear you talk about this a lot, is like, paint their world and talk about what their pain island is like and what it's going to be like when they go to Pleasure Island and you get them that result. And so do you think like you create content and you create things in the membership in that same format? That's like, how do I help this person get this result as fast as possible?
Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, we're in the happiness business. That's what we're in. Like, as long as our members are happy and experiencing progress, they're going to go anywhere. So, like, how amazing is that? That we have, our business is dependent on our ability to make people happy. So we just got to pause for a second and just think, okay, what is it that they're ultimately trying to do? They're ultimately trying to make progress in some area of their life. And so as long as we can continue to support them in making that progress, then they're going to continue to be happy and they're going to continue to stay as paying members. So yes, you're spot on. When we're thinking about content, it's all about how can we continue to move our members closer and closer to the final outcome or transformation that they're after. And it's really a journey. Like, in the book, that's one of the things I talk about is creating what we call a success path.
Yes,
and it's basically mapping out the journey of like how to go from where they are to where they want to be. And nobody just makes the huge leap, but they take baby steps along the way. And that's what we want to focus on, is helping people be able to get to that next micro win that builds momentum that ultimately takes them to that final transformation.
And my book, hurry up and get here, please. That is just, that's the question. I love that, because I will say, as a coach myself and as a woman who coaches, that we get very like, oh, you're going to come to my one-day event. Let me teach you the 7,000 things. And we think that it's great to overstimulate and teach you everything. I'm going to solve all your problems in one day. And then people are like, it's like, then people want to sell from the stage. And I'm like, they're so full. You gave them dessert. They're leaving stuffed. And now you're like, do you also want this thing? And they're going to explode with information. And so it's like, leave them hungry a little bit, give them a little bit so they can be like, that was delicious. And now what else can I get from you so I can go to the next level? And you just do that so well, Stu. And I always remember you speaking about that success path and making sure that they can get wins along the way. So my friends, we're going to link everything in the show notes, but I think the success path is really going to help those of us who want to over deliver, because we love and care so much. We don't do it for any other reason, but it is a bit silly because people are just stuffed, walking around super full.
Totally. And at the end of the day, like, if you can help people just experience a little win, like, in our minds, you know, you said it, we care so deeply. Like, we just want to get them to the transformation as quickly as possible. So in our minds, it's just like, okay, download everything I know to your brain and you should be able to get there like that. It doesn't happen that way, right? It's like, what happens is that people need time. They need time to like learn, and they need time to implement.
Yeah.
And so if you were doing a 1-day event, what I would do is I'd rewind and I'd say like, okay, what's like one promise that we can make where we are teaching and we're implementing this one day so that they will have XYZ done.
Yes.
And then your members come away from that experience like feeling accomplished, like, oh my gosh, like I actually got this done. Like whatever it was, they've been thinking about it. They've been messing around, kind of doing it, not really doing it. But on your one day, they got it done. That's a huge win. Now, it might not be the big final transformation, but it's a step forward. And they're going to feel so much more confident and excited about that they're naturally going to want to sign up for the next thing, because in their mind, now they've linked you to progress. And that is a beautiful thing. So I think at the end of the day, we just got to take a step back and create some breathing room and space for people to not only learn, but to also do and support them in that. You see, memberships are very much equal parts information and facilitation. And so once you wrap your head around that, you realize like you don't have to provide anywhere near as much content as we think, because the goal is just to facilitate people in implementing that content. And that's where the magic happens.
This has just been an episode of Deep Breaths, my friends. Okay. So all the good news that Stu is bringing with his book, Predictable Profits, you do not have to be on the hamster wheel. You don't have to teach all the millions of things. You can break it down. And I love what you said about, there's so much information, but not much application. And so it's like, we're not going to give you more information. We're going to apply something, and even just to finalize and finish. I know I'm sure I have ADHD to the extreme. I don't know, but I'm sure I do. All the many tabs, and my husband's always like, honey, just finish the thing and then you can close the tab. But no, Stu, they're all open, right? And so if you can help someone finish something, like that is such a massive thing, because they are going to remember Stu and go, I completed this. I read his book and I completed my success path. Holy moly, now I'm done. Now I'm ready to go to the next step. So thank you for explaining that. I want to ask you two like little rapid fire Erica questions that for my own mind, right? The difference between, so we have a 12-month program. It's a year long. And if I'm honest, I want these women to be with us forever. And for a very long time, we had women with us for 7 years in a year-long coaching program.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure I somewhat did a weird version of a membership, but not in the way. But they were there with us. And after 12 months, I'm like, you can just stay month to month, because they wanted to be a part of the community. It was a little cult. Yeah. It was called the Sisterhood, actually. So Twisterhood, Sisterhood. I like it. And I was like, oh no, is this a membership? I don't know. So what would you feel like if someone's listening and they're like, I have a 12-month payment plan option. Is that the same thing as a membership or not?
No, it's not. So a payment plan is not a membership. I want to be very clear about that. You're delaying payments. That's all that is. So a payment plan is not a membership. It's a way for people to down a bigger payment into bite-sized chunks, but it's not a membership. But there's a place for both. Like, I'm not here to say that payment plans are a bad thing. What I am here to say is that, like, you just described a perfect scenario of why people want to belong to a membership. So you created this 12-month program, and these women had an amazing experience. And so now they're like, I don't want to leave this. This is amazing. Like, this is incredible. I want to continue this party. And most people will end it. Like, it'll be like the end of the 12 months. It's like, okay, great job. Thank you so much. See you later. And now it's like, okay, now we got to go find some other people to come in to this 12-month thing. And it's a broken model, because you're always hitting reset. And so what I'm suggesting is that after any coaching program, or any course, if you deliver on that, like you have, this is a perfect example. You delivered on that. If you deliver on that, your people will naturally want to continue learning from you and working with you. And that's why it's a natural segue for people to want to join the membership. Like, look at here. It was a 12-month program. You said, let's just keep this party going. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. And they're there 7 years later. Like, that is a testament to you and how you're delivering and how you're creating this amazing experience for people. And so it just speaks to what we said earlier. we're in the happiness business. As long
Yeah.
as we continue to make our members happy, they'll continue to stay and pay. And
I
so
love that.
if you got a coaching program or a course or anything like that, just love on people, help them get great results. And at the end of it, offer them the opportunity to keep that party going. And it's a natural next step for them.
That's such beautiful copy. Let's keep the party going, friends. Don't leave. Okay, my second one is Instagram brought out subscriptions, right? And I
Yes.
haven't touched it. My husband was like, don't you dare. I'm like, I will not do it, but I am an Instagram lover. And we've made
Yes.
millions on Instagram. Like I didn't have an email list or anything. I just was lucky and crazy because I love talking to people on social media. So I saw this and I was like, how interesting that you could do this $5 a month, blah, blah, blah. But also it's Meta, no offense, but it's not yours. So I know a lot of people have memberships. Have you seen people transition and start memberships from IG subscriptions and move people off the platform? Or is that a terrible idea? Or what have you seen?
I'm not a huge fan of Instagram's subscription,
Yeah.
but I am a huge fan of using Instagram to drive membership sales on your
Yes.
own platform. So my recommendation is don't use Instagram subscriptions, but use ManyChat as a way to generate leads and drive sales for your membership.
Yes.
And the other thing about Instagram subscriptions is that it has this perception that it's got to be low dollar.
Yeah.
So
you're
it's
right,
like $4,
$4.
$5, $7. I don't think I've seen one that's, beyond $10 a month.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying to people is like, let's value yourself a little more than $4, $10. Like your membership is worth way more than that. And so that's another reason to come off platform and, create your own, I'm incredibly biased because we have a platform called membership.io.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
But point being is that definitely use Instagram to drive leads and sales, just not use their subscription.
I like that. Okay, so that's good advice. There you go, friends. Okay, so somebody's listening to this and she's like, I love Stu as much as Erica, and I think that I can do this. What do you feel like is her first step that she can take today to start building her membership around her expertise or her story?
I would encourage her to do what I call a founding member launch. And this means you're going to invite people to come and join a membership that you have not created yet. Now, I know there's ladies listening. They're like, what is that crazy Canadian saying? Like, has he had a little too much maple syrup up there? Like, I get it. But here's the thing. What I know to be true in all of my years in doing this, and like I said, I've been doing this nearly 2 decades. We've helped 19,000 people through our signature course. And we help thousands and thousands of people every single day with our platform. So we see what works and what doesn't when it comes to memberships. But the reality of it is that a membership is always going to change based on what you're learning about how to best serve your members. And so we can conceptualize and we can try to, quote, create the perfect membership. But the reality of it is we're never really going to know until we actually have members in there and we're actually helping them. So I see too many people get caught up overthinking, overanalyzing, and delaying the launch of their membership. What I would rather see is people go out to their audience, say it's on Instagram or Facebook or an email list, wherever your audience is, and craft a single message. And I'll walk you through the message. Do you want me to walk you through the message?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So there's 5 parts to this whole process. So let's say for you, it's on Instagram. We're talking about Instagram. Let's take you, Erica. So you would craft a post and there'd be 5 parts to this. The first part is you're going to talk about your membership idea, what it is, and where it came from. So you might say something like, yeah, I was talking to this crazy Canadian and he was talking about like communities, and it got me thinking about you. And it got me thinking about like what it might be like to create a community for women like us, where every day we are striving toward XYZ. Now, right now, this is just a raw idea. I don't have anything created. But it got me thinking about you, and what that might be like. Okay, so that's part one. Part two of the message. Now we're going to cast the vision. So now we would say, now, although I've not created anything yet, here's where I see this going. I see this becoming a place where fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank. And I see women in this membership achieving fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank. Isn't that exciting? Okay, so that's part two of the message. Part three, now we extend an invitation for them to join the membership that you have not created yet. So now the invite is, I don't know if this sounds interesting to you. And like I said, I've not created anything yet, but if it's of interest to you, I want to invite you to come and join me as a founding member. What does that mean? Well, what it means is that I'm going to extend to you founding member pricing. So it's going to be the lowest price it will ever be. When I launch this to the general public, the price is immediately going to go up. But your price will forever remain low founding member price. And I want your input because that's how we're going to make this great. And so, yes, I have a vision. Yes, I'm excited about that vision. But I also know that the only way I'm going to learn how to best serve you, get XYZ outcome, is by working with you directly. That's exactly what our founding members will have access to, is me and being able to provide feedback to help shape the direction that this takes. So that's the invite. Then we have a call to action. Now, my favorite call to action on a platform like Instagram or Facebook is send me a DM. Because I'm not as talented as you are, Erica. So like I have a little fragile ego. And I'm always worried, like, what if I put this out there and I ask people to say, yes, I'm interested in the comments, and nobody says they're interested?
I know.
Like, that would suck. So my little fragile ego says, don't do that. My fragile ego says, just send me a direct message. And now nobody knows if like one person or 100 or 1,000 people.
I'm stealing that, Stu. I'm going to steal that today.
So then we put the message out and we say, send me a DM. Now, I can tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get a bunch of DMs of people that are saying, I'm interested. That is going to feel so good.
Yeah.
But feelings don't pay the bills. So we got to finish with step number 5, which is the follow through. So now the follow through is somebody says, I'm interested. You write back. That's amazing. It's going to be incredible to have you as a member. Here's the payment link. And people are like, wait a minute. I haven't created a sales page. I haven't created a sales video yet. You don't need any of that. People aren't buying into it because of a fancy sales page. They're buying into the idea and the vision that you've cast.
Yes.
And so then you can do this quickly. You don't need to go and spend all day, all night. You can literally send a PayPal link for people to check out with PayPal or a checkout page, whatever it is. Just keep it simple, keep it straightforward. Now, what's going to happen is you can do and create this message literally by the end of today. By the end of today, you could do this. And you could have paying members paying you by the end of today. And what's going to happen is it's going to create momentum. And can you go out afterwards? Yes, you could go out afterwards and you can launch it to the general public. But now you're going to have paying members. And my goal in that founding member launch is to have love on them, serve them, help them experience progress and get results. And now you got all these beautiful stories that when you do go out to the general public are social proof that what you're sharing inside the membership works. And so I want to encourage people to get started before they think that they're ready. Because I have a quote up on our son's wall in his bedroom, and it's from the great Nelson Mandela. And it says, I never lose. I either win or I learn.
Oh, I love
and
that.
so when you do a founding member launch, you're either going to win and you're going to welcome a whole bunch of members, or let's talk about the elephant in the room. What if you put it out there and nobody says they're interested? Does that mean that you suck and that your idea sucks? No. All it means is that there's a misalignment between what you're saying and what the market wants. And isn't it better to figure that out?
Yep.
Before you go and create a whole bunch of things and spend a whole bunch of time, energy, and effort?
Yeah.
So you either win and welcome members, or you learn, both of which move you forward so much faster. So that's what I'd recommend. Start with the idea. Where did it come from? What is it? Where did it come from? Cast the vision. Where do you see this going? Invite them to come join you. They get low founding member price for as long as they remain a member in good standing. Give them a call to action. Send me a DM if you're interested. Then number 5, follow up. Send them the pay link. You're off to the races. You've created momentum.
Oh, I just feel like Stu McLaren gave you a challenge. Okay, if you're still listening here, I hope you go off and do that. And send Stu a message, okay? Tag us on Instagram. If you
Tag
go
me on
off and do
Instagram.
that. Yeah, I want to know if you do this, because that is so doable. And I love that idea around just launch it, make it happen now, because you're going to learn. And do you want to know a quick secret? Those women in that sisterhood program, I did exactly the same thing. That program didn't exist. Was I chasing my tail every month to record things at that first year? Yes. But they helped me record things. They helped me learn about what I was doing. So they create the program for you, or the membership for you. And then you feel like, oh my gosh, this has been built by bricks of my students. And how amazing. And it's this beautiful community. So I love that idea.
And you're getting paid to create it.
Yeah.
Like you weren't like, spending time, energy, and effort creating it first. No, you're getting paid along the way to create the thing that is turned into this beautiful. It's just such a better, easier approach to, helping and serving your audience.
You are amazing. And I could speak to you for 14 more hours because I just love the passion in which you live your life and what you do, and everything that you've created, and just how much you care about your community, your audience, and the fact that you are still the GOAT, okay? The GOAT for the memberships. I'm sounding a bit Australian, GOAT. I've been here too long. But it's just so incredible to still witness you doing this and claiming your space as the membership go-to. And now with this book, Predictable Profits. So we're going to link in the show notes. There is a really cool thing that I've just done literally before I push record, and you can order your books, Stu, for free. Just pay for shipping. Yeah. And that is hello, that's even better. So booyah, you can get the book for free. You just pay for shipping.
Yeah. If you just go to freemembershipbook.com, you get a copy of the book. I mean, you pay for shipping depending on where you are in the world. Obviously the shipping will vary. Yeah. But, or there, you can also order it on, all the Amazons and in bookstores. It's also available on Audible as well. So I read my entire book. You'll hear me walking you through it, telling all the stories, sharing all the tidbits,
all the energy.
But yeah, exactly. All the dad jokes.
Yes, all the dad jokes. I do want to say you have this beautiful foundation, and if you don't mind, could you just end with that, because I think money matters because of the impact that we get to have and we get to create. And I know all of my amazing listeners here give a damn about the world, and they care, and they're in it because they want to impact. And I think that money and what we get to create isn't just about buying a Gucci bag or a new car or all of the fancy schmancy things. It's more money, more impact. And so I love what you've done. And if you don't mind, could you just share before we end?
Of course. Listen, I would love to take credit for this, but it's my wife. It's my wife who has opened my eyes to the gift that we have as entrepreneurs. Yeah. And many, many years ago, it was 2007. And she came to me, and it was around Christmas time. And it was second week in December. And she said, I really want to help community developing. And I'm, supportive husband. I'm like, for sure. Absolutely. What are you thinking? And she's like, I don't know. She's like, you're the business guy. You figure out how to raise the money. I'm the traveler. I'll figure out where we're going and who we're going to help. And I was like, okay. I said, well, when do you want to do this? And she said, over the Christmas holidays. I was like, babes, that's in 2 weeks. She's like, yep. I was like, oh my gosh. So we did an online fundraiser. Wow. We raised $14,000, and she found some community up in the mountains of El Salvador. Wow. They didn't speak a word of English. We didn't speak a word of Spanish. There was a whole lot of acting going on. But what I do know is that we helped send 29 girls to school, paid for their tuition, revamped their school. It was incredible. So on the way home from that, I remember I looked at Amy on the plane and I said, okay, I get it. Let's figure out how to make this, a thing. So We did. And we ended up forming our own charity. It's called Village Impact. And the long story short is we just had a heart for Africa. I can't explain why we were drawn to that part of the world. We were. And so we ended up finding a woman in Kenya who we call like the Mother Teresa of Africa. Like she's incredible. Her name's Irene. And we've formed essentially a partnership with her. And she helps us identify communities that would love school, a school, but they just can't afford it, or they don't have one. And so the kids are either walking like, 7-8 kilometers each way to get to school, or they're just not going.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, we'll figure this out. So we started with our first school. It has now blossomed into, we're just finishing our 16th school this year.
Wow.
Each school has anywhere between 300 to 900 kids.
Oh my gosh.
So there's more than 5,000 plus kids going to these schools. And it all started because we had this idea and we went to Kenya for the first time and we just figured it out. Now I got to share with you a story because
that's so cool.
For a long time, I used to feel guilty about making money. And it held me back, just frankly, it held me back. And it was because, I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but like I had two of the most incredible parents, like absolutely incredible parents, but they worked a lot. They worked really hard. And I remember I was in my, mid-20s and I was still living in my parents' basement. Not the greatest, thing to take, pride in, but I was still living in my parents' basement. And, but I had started my consulting business and it had taken off and I was earning, right around $400,000 a year.
Wow. Geez.
Still living in my parents' basement. And I was making more money than both of them combined. And I was not working anywhere near as much. And I used to feel so much guilt about that. And what would happen is my subconscious would kick in and my subconscious would be like, whoa, Stu, this is way too much money. And so what would happen is I would self-sabotaging. I wouldn't do the marketing campaigns that I knew worked. I wasn't calling the clients back like I knew I should be. And so my income would come back down. And I kept floating like this, like I could not break $400,000 in my business.
Wow.
But after we went to Kenya that first time, I'm in this community and we're trying to figure out how to build this school. And we know nothing. We've never built a school, let alone building a school in a foreign country.
Yeah.
But I'm talking to the chairman of this community and I just said to him, I said, how much does it cost to fund the full-time salary of a teacher? And he thought for a moment and then he's like, it's about $100 a month. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I was selling a product at the time that was legit $100. And I had this light bulb moment of like, oh my gosh, if I just sell one more of these and I just allocate that to funding the full-time salary of the teacher, like imagine the impact I could have.
Wow.
Then the real light bulb went off, which was like, oh, wait a minute. What if you make a whole lot more money?
Yeah.
And you just allocate a whole lot more to the people and causes you're passionate about? Imagine the impact you could have. And that was a turning point for me because that very next year, I went from struggling to get beyond 400,000 to making millions of dollars. And now, since then, every year, 8 figures plus. Because now what I realize is that money is a really good thing. Universe, I love making money because the more money I make, the more good I can do.
Yeah.
And so it's really, really important that we as entrepreneurs take pride in our ability to be able to make money because money just gives us the ability to do more good. Money is just an amplifier. Yeah. If you're a good person, and I know you, Erica, and the people watching and listening, they're good people. If you're a good person, when you've got more money, you can do more good. It amplifies things. Yeah. And so take pride in making money. Take pride in the fact that you are able to make money and that money gives you the ability to do more good in this world. And what'll happen is the universe, I can't explain it, but the universe will bring that to you. It's like you just become a conduit to goodness. 100%. And so that's what my wife and I have been doing for decades now. We've had our charity for a long time. And You can see these are some of the kids from
Gorgeous.
one of the schools recently.
Gorgeous.
And we even had, I was looking for it. I couldn't find it. I put it somewhere. But last year we opened our most recent school, and it's an all girls high school. It was the biggest school that we've done yet. This is the one where 900 girls are going to this school. And the president of Kenya came to open this school.
Wow.
I was like, it was
goodness.
bonkers. Full on red carpet, everything.
Wow.
Helicopters, it was crazy.
Gosh. Wow.
But yeah.
You and Amy, I just want to say thank you. You guys are amazing. Not only because you're teaching and supporting and helping other people and you break it down so easily, but because you're consistently there. You've been there for so long. You're still there. When we look for memberships, there you are smiling with your new book. Thank you to the Hay House CEO for making you write that. And also now teaching us that the benefits of us becoming successful and making money, especially to my ladies who are from, I grew up in a marginalized community. I grew up in foster care. I was on food stamps. And to be able to have made millions of dollars as a Latina who, grew up in the hood, it's like, I'm not in the hood anymore, and it's like how incredible and amazing. And I know many of you that listen to this podcast don't believe you can have it, but not only can you have it and create it, but then when you have it, you can do so much good. So Stu, thank you for being such a beautiful human being and for bringing all the goodness and sharing everything you shared with us today. We're going to link everything in the show notes. I just can't thank you enough for being who you are, and congrats on your new book.
Oh, you're awesome. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And thank you for empowering so many women to, step into their full potential. My wife and I have our daughter, Marla, and there is nothing more than I want for her to see incredible role models. Amy obviously is one, but I love her seeing what's possible through women just thriving in business. So thank you for helping lead that charge and making it possible for so many too.
Thank you, Stu. You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, my love, I hope you loved that episode. Go and grab a copy of Predictable Profits right now. I'm telling you, it is a game changer. If you've ever wanted to turn your story, your skills, or your service into a community and a business that grows every single month, Stu is your guy. He's a beautiful soul, and that book is going to be your manual. You already know what I'm going to say. Go and get it. Head to the link in the show notes, and I'll see you next week.